All right. So, Justin, Doug, since we've got both of you guys here this week, I am in the market for a new truck, and I know you guys are on the road with the horses a lot. So, I figured you are the best people to ask. I guess, when you guys are considering like upgrading to a new truck or a new trailer or anything with your rig, I mean, where do you start? Because I know you guys are on the road all the time. You're bringing horses all over the place. Doug, what's your advice, I guess, for me, who's someone who's starting my search for a good truck?
I guess the question is this, like, are you bringing just one horse along? Are you looking for a tag along, a gooseneck? What size trailer are you thinking?
Well, for me, I just have one horse, and then occasionally I'll take friends along. So I was thinking maybe up to a 3-horse. I've only ever pulled a bumper pole by myself, though. I've never pulled a gooseneck.
Do you have a trailer?
I just sold it, so I'm in between trailers.
Okay. I would personally recommend if you can make it happen, get yourself a gooseneck, because I think they are far more stable, far more maneuverable, and just all around just easier. And frankly, you get more storage out of it anyway.
Would you say that they're pretty like amateur friendly? Because that's my concern as someone who does this on the weekend. Okay. All right.
I think they're easier to drive, frankly, because on the highway, you're especially the tag along, you end up kind of getting pushed around and all that. You won't even know that it's behind you. And it may take a drive or two to get familiar. Just the fact that it might track a little bit farther to the inside of the turn. So you just swing a hair wider, but you're never going to get stuck. Frankly,
I think
places where you would get stuck in the tag along, the gooseneck, you're going to get out of easy.
Gotcha.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I find the bumper pulls are harder to drive than the goosenecks. And I am used to the gooseneck, but honestly, like once you get used to it, you're like, oh, this is way easier to park. And I think they're way easier, safer, more stable trailer. And it's way safer. But I have to chime in. My favorite one for like your kind of instance are those 2+ ones.
Yeah.
If you like look at those are great because they've got extra storage, but you can put a 3rd horse if you need to, if it was smaller.
Yeah.
But those are a great new, like kind of, I mean, everyone's kind of getting them, and it's kind of a mix between the head-to-head and the just plain 2-horse. We don't have one, but I love those trailers. We have a bunch of friends that have them. So if somebody like is looking,
I like them too because they normally have like the side front ramp too, so you can walk them off.
Yeah,
the front.
The nice thing there, if it's pouring rain, you can tack them up inside as well.
Oh yeah, good point. So what do you guys drive? Like when you're on the road, I know you're probably hauling plenty
secondary
horses.
to that though, you do really want to make sure you know how heavy this truck is, because a lot of people would drive, like maybe they buy a 150 for your application. If you put 3 horses in it and you have a 150 or a 1500 or whatever, it's going to be far more weight than that truck was designed to be pulling. And it's frankly dangerous. And there's a lot of people out there probably that have a truck that's undersized for what they're really looking to do. And
they probably don't even know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they don't know. And engine wise, they're fine. Like they'll say, okay, it can accelerate fine. But really the big difference is stability and turning, and then also braking. And so I think it's really important. If somebody has a truck and trailer, just go to any truck stop, sort of Pilot or TA or whatever it might be, and just pull up on the scales. It costs you $5. You just hit the button and you just say, you need your truck weight, and you just go in and you pay them $5 and they give you a weight slip. And what it'll tell you is ultimately how heavy everything is. And if you're pulling so my personal rig right now, it's we can put 6 horses on it. It's basically a 5-horse, and you can put 1 in the middle. And if we're full, I had a pickup initially. We're full with the pickup. I was like 27,000 pounds, and I ended up upgrading, and I've got a Freightliner sort of M2, so it's a medium duty truck. We're probably 34,000 pounds full at this point. But it's so important to know how heavy it is, because if you walk into a dealership where you're just looking privately, you've got to make sure that it's truly equipped, the truck is, for what you're looking to pull, because there's so many people out there pulling 4 or 5 horse rigs with a 250 that frankly you just can't stop them fast enough, and you're bound to get in trouble and get hurt at some point, and it's just not worth it at all. And we ended up going to obviously it's a larger application than what you're looking for, but we ended up going to the Freightliner because I bought it used. It had 80,000 miles, and the things will last up to 1 million miles probably. When they say minimum wear life is about 500,000. And so at 80,000, it's barely broken in. And I think we paid 67 for it. And frankly, if you're going to go out and buy a brand new crew cab dually, you're going to pay more than that probably. And so the way I looked at it was, frankly, yes, it was a lot of money, but at the same time, we do probably 45,000 miles a year, and it's going to be worth at least 2.5 pickups worth of time is what I figured it would be. So I thought long term, it's just a far more economical and way safer. I mean, you can stop that thing on a dime if you need, even if we're completely full. And the other big advantage to that was that on the long trips, the back seat folds down into a bed. So whoever's not driving can be sleeping. And I'm 6'3", and I can lay completely out one side to the other and not be hitting the walls. And it's just, in the end, a far more comfortable, safe way to go, I think. So I would tend to always oversize your truck for whatever you're looking to do. Good
to know. I mean, do you guys have any other tips? I know you're on the road all the time. I mean, even like changing a tire on the side of the road or something like that when you've got the horse trailer.
I would say have 2 spare tires, because
he's so about safety.
Well, if the last thing you want to do is be stuck on the side of the road, and there's nothing more infuriating to me than traveling with somebody like, oh, we're going to follow you, okay, and then they don't have any sort of jack or trailer aid or any means to change a tire. They don't have a wrench. They have one spare tire that's probably flat, and they probably haven't checked the tires ever. And frankly, we have a good friend, unnamed. She blew 3 tires on the trip previous. And I said, did you change the other one? Oh, no, that one was still fine. I said, are you kidding me? Of course, she only had 1 spare. So she blows that. And then she happened to, it was just a mess. And so nothing.
He was so mad.
Oh, it's so frustrating. So I would say have some means to pump it up. So have some sort of compressor. We're lucky with the Freightliner. It's got air brakes, so it's got an air suspension, so it has an air line on it, so you can just plug it right in and go. But have some means to inflate
on his truck.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Ridiculous.
Have some means to change the tire, and then the actual tires you're using. I just found this out like 2 years ago. There is, most people, if you're going to buy a trailer tire, they're going to give you like a 10-ply tire, and you can just ask them for a 14-ply. It's far, I mean, these things are like tanks. I mean, you can abuse the hell out of them, you'll be fine. And they are, maybe it's $15 more a tire, but they will probably have to order them specially for you when you do get them. But so well worth it, because, you know, frankly, if Jessica's driving, you're going to hit a curb or two, and these things will be fine.
Oh, gosh.
But far better than your standard. Definitely don't use a truck tire, because it's just not tough enough. And the trailer tires, a lot of them, like I said, are 10, but go with a 14-ply. Get the heaviest duty thing you can find.
As you can see, when we met, I didn't know how to change a tire. I had literally, I was like, no, I don't know how to do any of that. So I have since learned how to change a tire. I have just travel with all of the stuff. I mean, we leave and he's like, do you have your wrench? Do you have your blah, 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 blah? I'm like, yes, it's all in the trailer. I have not moved it. Like, it has not touched it, because he is all about it. He's like, you need to figure out if you needed to switch it on the side of the road. And so it did come in handy. I did have a friend that was like 10 miles ahead of me going to try on, and she calls me and she's like, I can't get the tire changed. I was pregnant, stopped on the side of the road, and had to fix her tire for her. So
look at you. Wow. Jeez.
It was pretty impressive. But yeah, no, he is all about making sure we have plenty of stuff when we're on the side of the road. So we don't like to waste time. We travel too much. That's the biggest thing, is you don't want to be stuck on the side of the road for like 5 hours.
Yeah, no way. Especially, oh my goodness. So do you guys have any tips on how you prepare your horses for a long haul? If you guys know you're going to be in the trailer pretty much for hours.
We stop and we check on them quite regularly, like make sure they have anything they want, water, and they have plenty of hay. And then also a lot of them, we start them on the GastroGuard or UlcerGuard before they leave. So like a day before, we'll give them like a quarter of a tube, and then just to help, like if they have a little bit of ulcers, or we've done that Outlast stuff that we were talking about on a previous podcast from Purina, that we give them, we start them 2 days prior with the Outlast. So we'll do that or both, just to make sure, kind of prevent their stomachs and stuff. And most of ours, sadly, have gotten kind of used to it, that they're like, oh, next adventure, here we go again.
Well, I forgot to mention the other thing that we've got in the big truck, and we need to get it in the other one, we haven't yet, is a camera system. And if you buy one that's specifically labeled for horses, you're going to pay a crazy amount of money. There's a company called Cab Cam, and I'm sure there's others out there, that market the same exact like the little TV screen and the cameras themselves for industrial farming, for tractors and balers and that sort of stuff. So it's far less expensive. You can get a full setup. So the way that we've got the big truck, so it's got a monitor in there, it's got a camera on the back of the truck, a camera in the horse area, and then a camera on the very back, basically like a backup camera. And you could get that whole setup for $450 maybe. And then of course you're going to have to either put it in or have somebody put it in. So potentially that's a little bit more of an additional expense. But once you have that, it makes me so incredibly nervous shipping horses without it, because you can always check on them. And, if you see if one of them gets their head stuck around a bar, or they get tangled up with something, or whatever happens, you've got eyes on them right away. And the backup camera is really convenient as well, especially if you get stuck into a small gas station or whatever, that you can back up. And it might panic some people around you because they think you can't quite see.
That panics a lot of people.
Oh my
Doug
gosh.
just looked really close.
Because you can back up
like,
till you're 6 inches from them, and they think that you're about to tag them, and you're not.
Oh my God, that would change my life with backing up the trailer.
It is great, actually. It is great because it's always the driver's side, backside you can always see, but the passenger side, especially if you're turning sort of back around to the left, is always totally blind. So this way, you can be far quicker about everything and safer.
Awesome. So I know there are a couple of programs out there that are kind of like AAA for equestrians almost. Do you guys use any of those to kind of help you when you're on the road or if you're in an emergency situation?
Yeah, I think if all goes completely wrong, we've been using US Rider, and they've been awesome. And frankly, if you're completely stuck, your truck dies, whatever, they will arrange to have your horses transported to a local farm and effectively sort of put them up in a little hotel to get your truck up and running and you back on your way. So I think you can prepare as much as you can to hopefully fix it on the fly, but if all goes wrong, you can certainly rely on them to do that. And for all of your listeners, if you use a promo code, I think it's DPE16, I think they'll give you a free month with it. So,
ooh,
way to save a little money.
Yeah,
nice.